Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to another video, another news-related video, that is. We're going to be talking about Samsung Messages. Apparently, now, I guess Samsung Messages is going to be shutting down, and Google Messages is going to become a thing on Samsung Messages. So I kind of want to talk about that, and kind of what's going on with some stuff here and all that. But if you guys haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and all that. Like, once again, I'll say this before, I'll say it again. If you guys are not interested in my my news-related videos, me talking about stuff like that, I always have, another option. I always have an option for, like I said, I do reviews and stuff too. I do reviews and Let's Plays. Even though shit's getting kind of difficult and a lot with some of this stuff going on, I'm trying to get it done, trying to make different videos and stuff, but boy, it's getting difficult. But, yeah, but let's go ahead and actually get into this, because I have a lot to say about this, actually. So, as somebody who's used like Androids and all that for a while now, in fact, my first phone was an Android. Well, the new one is too. The one I'm using right now was my first phone I've ever used. So this phone is actually really old. It's I believe it was made in 2016. It was the Samsung, Galaxy Edge thing, or Samsung, what was it, Samsung, I can't remember what number it is. Oh, I think it's 7. Yeah, I think it's the 7th one, it's the Generation 7 and all that. I mean, since then, they've made a lot of them. We're now up to, the 2026 one and all that. Which, by the way, there aren't 26 different models. They just, for some reason, jumped to a bigger number. I don't know if they were trying to match the numbers or not. I don't know. My point is that Samsung has been making a lot of phones and all that, so, and that, the one I have is a really old one, so, and then the other one I have is a newer one, but not as new. But I'm not gonna lie, I have some history with Samsung, I'm not very happy with some of their shit that they've been doing, I made a whole review talking about Samsung, I did some store reviews and stuff, so, yeah, I've done some of that stuff too, Yeah, I haven't actually reviewed any other, stores that were phone places and all that, but I've reviewed, the AT&T stores and all that, and they freaking suck. They suck. They basically, you take your stuff in there and all that. Most of the time, they cannot help you, and, all they do is sell you new shit. They don't have any older stuff, so they're basically pushing you to buy these newer phones and all that. Which, by the way, are really expensive. They are fucking outrageously expensive, I don't know what the new ones are gonna cost, but I do know when I was looking at, getting a newer phone, the last time I actually got a 2020, or not 20, I got a Galaxy 20 phone, because I wanted to have a memory card in it, because the new ones do not have it. So I still wanted a memory card in it, which, by the way, can store up to, 8,000, or not 8,000, what am I saying, 8,000, 1,000 gigabytes, aka, what is it? It's not a gigabyte card, what was it, I don't remember what they call them, I usually hear gigabyte cards because, a lot of people still use them, but some of them can use bigger ones. They're not they're actually called, something else, are they kilobytes, or, no, I don't remember what they are, hang on, let me actually look that up real quick. Okay, it's a terabyte. That's what the card's called, a terabyte. I don't really, like I said, I don't hear people talk about a lot of that stuff, because terabytes are much bigger than gigabytes. But yeah, my other phone can take that. It can take terabytes. Sorry, I'm like tired right now. I'm tired, kind of stressed out a little bit. My mom's car is like acting up and all that. It's a stressful time. It is a stressful time, and yeah, and what I'm gonna be talking about here is also fucking stressful. But you know, but yeah, I just wanted to figure out what that was called. But yeah, my other phone, can take up to it can take up, to 1 gigabyte of storage, which is a lot of room, But these newer ones do not do that. In fact, these newer phones, from what I could hear, are actually worse than the older ones. And as somebody who has this old one here, and then the other one, I can confirm, yeah, it's fucking worse than a newer phone, That's the thing, they're charging you all this damn money for shit and all that, they're charging you all this money and all that for this shit, and then, it ends up being worse than the older stuff. Now, I understand that, we have, the tariffs and stuff and all that, and then we have, we got crap going on, with Trump and, overseas and stuff like that, but this shit's been getting expensive for a while now, Like I said, a couple years ago, they were charging me, $2,000 for a phone, and I'll have to buy a new one if I traded this one in. The problem is, I didn't want to do that, because I wanted a spare phone, in case something were to happen to, to the newer phone or the older one, I wanted to have a spare. But they were making me, they were charging me a lot of money for it, so I just went on Amazon and just bought me the other phone, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing it, I'm just it's just not worth it, And that's the problem, though. Like I said, the newer crap is, it's sucking and all that. Everything's getting expensive and all that. And then you got, like I said, the memory cards and all that, too, which, by the way, are going up. Now, that's something that's been going up recently. I will admit that's been going up recently. The other stuff's been going up before that, but it's gotten worse, so... but I'm gonna say that's kind of what I mean by some stuff's been going up a lot more. Like I said, the memory cards and all that. To get a 500 gigabyte one, they're charging you $100 for one now. Some even more than that, depending on the brand you get. So, yeah, clearly, yeah, things are expensive. But the fact that fucking AT&T, is has the guts to overcharge people and all that, for shit, is ridiculous. And then, they're starting to, push more into the AI and all that. I can't even get the damn speech to text thing to fucking work half the damn time. Or actually, on the new phone, it barely works at all anymore. I'm not kidding. It keeps messing up and all that. I will admit, I am a terrible speller. I am a terrible speller. English is very hard to, to understand. I mean, you got the GH that sometimes makes a sound like an F sound. Sometimes it'll make no sound and all that, It's very weird and all that. You got things like that. It's just kind of weird, Like I said, it's very weird how the letters work. I mean, hell, one of the letters of the alphabet, Y, can sometimes say its name. Watch, it won't say its name, it'll say other letters' names. So, words like my and try and Y, it'll make an I sound. Well, I guess you could say the word Y, just spells the word Y, the letter Y itself, but my point is that, my point is there are a lot of words like that where, Y will do that and all that, and so English is kind of hard, because Y is known for being a vowel and a consonant, because vowels usually say their own names. They say their actual names. I don't know, letters are confusing. That's why I have the speech to text thing, because I write stories and all, because I told you guys I want to get into the animation business in the future. The problem is I can't do that when they're shoving fucking AI and shit down my throat and all that, and that's about what they're doing, like their speech to text thing and all that, and I'm just like, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is just ridiculous and all that, and this is kind of going where, this is kind of going to be going into what I'm going to be talking about in this video, which you guys are seeing here, yeah, so basically though, Samsung Messages and Google Messages, are, I think, combining together. So they're actually gonna shut down Samsung Messages, and it's gonna be licensed to Google. Google is gonna get the messages and all that. I'm just like, why do we need it to be Google? Like, Samsung, that's its own brand. Like, why do we need it to be Google, I mean, Google, if I want to use a Google product, I could just buy a freaking Google Pixel, thing or something like that, I don't see the point of them doing that, Maybe it's cheaper to, like, just add more, or, like, have, like, less, apps to pay for or run or something like that, but I'm just like, that's actually not a very good thing, because what they're doing here is they're gonna force the older Androids to use this. So you're now gonna be forced to use Google Messages and all that. Which, by the way, they're pushing more of this AI shit and all that down your throat and all that. And people are pissed. People are not happy about it. From what I can hear, is people who actually already have it on the newer phones. Because, like I said, this is on the older phones and all that, and this is actually on the older, well, I mean, not on the older, it's on the newer stuff, but not on the old phones. What they are doing here, though, is they are going to be forcing you to use the newer, the newer technology here and all that, and people have had problems with Google and all that. People are like, Google is at the point right now where people do not trust it, and what's happening here is they are fucking monopolizing the internet. They are. I mean, they are technically monopolizing the internet, they are like, they control the fucking internet, They're basically they're too big, they're too dangerous here, and what's happening is they're making you go to their platforms and all that, and that's the problem. Like, doing this and all that, I'm like, now your Samsung phones will use Google. If you don't like Google, well, too bad, you gotta use it because they force you to use it. And like, it may not sound bad the way I'm phrasing it here, but trust me, it is, because Google is not always great either to use. Google, it has problems. Google, like, if I want to look something up, it doesn't always work very well, like, if I go to Maps or something like that, I've talked about that in my McDonald's video, where I was talking about, about them getting rid of their soda machines and all. I brought that up. I'm like, I'm going on, like, I'm looking up, photos and stuff on Google, and trying to find some older pictures and stuff, because I make videos on that, which, by the way, I can't even, like, upload them because they got copyright claimed, and, on YouTube, and they're not even telling me why they copyright claimed it. It's because it's run by a bunch of fucking bots now. Sorry, I need to stand up there. Sorry about that. Yeah, sometimes I have to, like, stand up or sit down. But anywho, yeah, like I said though, they got copyrighted and all that, and they didn't really tell me why or something like that. They just copyrighted it. And they've been doing that a lot, but the problem is people are trying to boycott Google, but then Google's coming in and fucking taking over shit, I think what's gonna end up happening is this shit right here is gonna lead into a fucking lawsuit because Google needs to be broken down. They need to be fucking broken down. They are too big and all that, and they have too much control in the fucking internet and all that, you know. And I mean, yeah, there is some competition out there, but there's not a lot. There is not a lot of competition out there, you know. You got like you know, Microsoft and all that, you got them, and then I'm trying to think what else there really is. I really can't. I mean, there's Yahoo, but Yahoo, I tried using that, and I'm still forced to go to Google to actually use it. I can't just fucking download it. I have to use it. So they actually force me to use Google there to actually get to it. I did have the email thing down there, but I'm just saying, you know, it's ridiculous though, you know. Like I said, they're too big, you know, and they control so much of the market, you know, and that's the problem, you know. And when you don't have a lot of options, you know, then, you know, people are stuck with it, and then it becomes a problem. And that's the thing with Samsung Messages here and all that, you know. The fact that they're using Google now just sucks. It sucks because, you know, that means again Google now is controlling your stuff and all that on there. They are controlling, you know, Samsung Messages is controlling your you know, being controlled by Google now, and that's the thing too. They're pushing more into the AI and stuff like that, and all that. It's ridiculous. Like I said, the whole thing is just ridiculous, and like I said, there's probably gonna be some freaking lawsuits and stuff like that, you know. And like I've said, you know, it may not sound like a big deal, but I'm like, Google is a big product, and when you got, you know, Samsung, you know, doing it, that means your messages and all that are going to be controlled by Google and all that, and, you know, and, I mean, you could buy probably other phone products or switch to other plans. I don't know how that works, which I've actually been thinking about doing, but I'm like, I don't want to do it and then, you know, lose all my stuff, you know, but, you know, I'm just saying, though, it's just like, but I'm just saying, though, it is definitely becoming a problem and all that. I'm wondering, though, if this could be part of the reason, too, why I can't get a hold of my friends. Maybe they have a different app than I do. I don't know. Because they said they started doing this shit, like, they started, like, pushing more of this, you know, with the Galaxy 21 models. You know, the ones that remove the memory cards and all that. That's when they started pushing all of this. They started pushing this then, but I have, like, all these numbers and all that, and I can't get a hold of, like, hardly anybody. Like, not joking. I cannot get a hold of hardly anybody on my phone anymore. I'm starting to wonder why I even have all these numbers, you know? That's the thing, though. It probably won't affect me very well, but it can affect other people who have more of the stuff, and it's at Google and all that. Like I said, there's been reports of them spying on you, keeping track of your stuff and all that. That means that you could put your messages in there and all, and they might keep track of them more, you know. It's very, very weird. It is very weird. And also you got, like, the cloud and all that, which I think is also controlled by Google, too. Which I don't actually use. I use the memory cards. Which, honestly, you know, yeah, it would suck if my memory cards got corrupted, because I actually have one that got corrupted. I am, by the way, working on a process to getting it fixed, because I got some treasures on there I can show you guys down the road. Yeah, by treasures, I mean I've recorded a lot of places and stuff like that, you know, before they've been monetized and boring, you know? You know what I'm saying? You know, that's kind of what I want to do for you guys, but I have to get it fixed. I mean, I got it fixed before, but that was a long time ago. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think it's at the point right now, though, I mean, I don't know if I would say quit using Google, but I would say, I would try to, like, not use it as much. I would try to, like, and yeah, like I said, it's a lot harder to not use a product when they're shoving it down your face, but I'm just saying, like, if they're gonna try to push it, because that's what they want to do. They want to fucking monopolize the internet. They want to take over the internet. They're like their own fucking government, and that's we don't want that. We've seen what they're doing with the shit on YouTube and all that. They're censoring people and all that. We don't want that. And I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say it. I don't care. I mean, I'm gonna say like that they want to hide my video and all. That's fine. I don't care. It's not right. You can't just control people like that. You have to let people, like make their own stuff and all that. You can't just go and control people. People are not gonna stand by it. Like many empires, they all fall. Eventually people put their foot down and stand up for themselves. It's been like that throughout history. You can try to control people who, no matter what, but eventually they're going to put their foot down. And that's what's going to happen with Google. They're going to push people too far, and they are going to, put their foot down and all that. That's the thing. However, there's actually another thing that Google is doing too recently that people are not happy about, and this has actually happened to me as well. This is more on Samsung's stuff, but I noticed it's not happening with my newer phone, but apparently they just randomly fucking download, games. They download games and all that to your phone and all that without your permission. So yeah, they basically do that. They download games to your phone without your permission and all that. Which, by the way, too, I actually showed off some of those games because I thought, like, maybe there were ones that I downloaded or were already on the phone. I think a lot of them were not, but I went and showed off a lot of them anyway just for fun. And apparently, yeah, YouTube copyright claimed that too. And again, once again, do not tell me why. I'm like, it's Let's Playing a game, it's no different than watching your family do it. That's why I don't understand why they copyright claim stuff like that, but, I guess they do, so, but yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm just saying it's very, like I said, that's not okay for them to do that. They can't just fucking download shit on your phone without your permission and all that, but that's what they do, and it takes up a lot of space on your phone, It's ridiculous. It's illegal, and they do it, because they're big. I'm just gonna tell you guys this: they're lucky I don't have a lot of money, or like I said, I would probably sue them. I'd freaking sue AT&T and all that for doing that stuff because, like I said, that's not okay. You can't just download shit and all that without people's permission. That's their job and all that because it takes up a lot of space on your phone. But like I said, they get away with it because, like I said, they're freaking tech companies and they're big. But yeah, like I said though, I am just kind of, like I said, I'm kind of just tired of all this stuff, here and all that. And I mean, between that, we got the freaking ID stuff and all that, and then we got the, and then we got the freaking internet, or the internet being censored and all that. I'm just tired of all this. I'm really getting to the point where I'm like, I don't even want to use the internet anymore. I'm just like. I mean, yeah, it would suck not to have access to some videos and posts people make, but I'm like, it's getting kind of dangerous to be on the internet, and I'm just like, I don't know, I just don't know, but like, and I mean, I'm not gonna say it's gonna last forever. I mean, a lot of this shit, like I said, they're gonna push it to its limit, but I guarantee, like I said, a lot of this, like this ID shit and all that, and Google expanding and all like they are doing, like I think it's eventually going to stop. But this stuff could take a long time to do, and believe me, people have been fighting some of this stuff. Hell, like I think I don't know if I've stated this before or not, but Google's been in some lawsuits before about monopolizing stuff. Unfortunately, they haven't gone anywhere, but I'm just saying, like it's gonna keep happening and all that, and like I said, with this messenger shit and all, the fact that they're putting their brands on products that they don't even own too, just shows you that, yeah, it's very weird. Like I said, it is very, very weird and all that, and I don't know how to feel about that. But I really don't. But, yeah, it's kind of what we're dealing with right now, but yeah, I'm just, like I said, it's just getting worse and all that, but like I said, I don't think I think it's going to get bad for a while here, and then it'll probably stop. It's going to stop, because like I said, people are going to, like I said, stand against it, because like I've said, it's, no matter, like, how massive your army and all that is, like I said, an empire will fall, like, they can threaten you and all that, and everything, and eventually it'll fall. Like I said, it'll fall, because either people will fight back, like, physically, like, or they'll fight back, and they will, like I said, by refusing, and, like I said, and then, like, they'll have to change it, because there'll be too many people for them to, to stand against with that stuff, and they will have to, like, drop it, because otherwise they won't have any way to rule, and that's kind of how Google is, like, Google, and all that, and not just Google, a lot of these companies, I mean, we're seeing that happen with, like, the Walt Disney Company right now. We're seeing them, collapse. People aren't giving them their money as much, and they need their money. Their money is their power, and once they lose that power, then it's gone. And that process took a long time to happen too. And I mean, yeah, they're still kicking, but they're definitely not doing as well as they were. And that's the same thing with all these other, companies and stuff too. Same thing, don't give them a lot of money and they will eventually, collapse. But, I mean, I'm saying that from somebody who's actually using YouTube and all that, which is actually owned by Google, but I actually was thinking about switching over to something else, but at least with, like, compared to websites, I don't know what else to do. I mean, there's Instagram and all, I could post some stuff on there, but they can't be very long videos, but I'm just saying they could take down channels and stuff on the platform, but also those channels will, like I said, they may get taken down, but then you're taking away people's work at the same time, because you need these channels to survive. You need these accounts to survive. That's why I'm just like, instead of pushing people to get your platform and all, and like monopolizing stuff and all, and taking down people's stuff, like, work within and all that, and quit trying to be the next empire, because like I said, this has happened before in the past, with throughout history and all that, and like I said, it'll happen again, and the thing is too, like I said, if it does happen, there might be some problems with stuff, but unfortunately it may end up like that if things do not change. But hopefully they will not continue going down this route, but I don't know what's gonna happen. But I know in this video I was also talking about a lot more about the Google side of things and not really this, but I just don't really have a lot to add to the Samsung message and then Google message thing, like, I'm kind of talking about just stuff in general, because there's really not a lot to add about the app there, like. But yeah, I do know people are saying it's not very good. It's not as good as the Samsung Messages, app that they had, but unfortunately, it's kind of going with that route. I think Samsung is also owned by AT&T. I don't know if it's a phone brand or they're actually owned by AT&T themselves. I think they are. I could be wrong, but Samsung though, like I said, Samsung Messages is Samsung Messages though is a or not Samsung Messages. I mean the AT&T stores. Like I said, they suck. Like I said, they're not very good. They basically, what they'll do is like you take your phone in or something like that, and they're not very good at fixing crap because their stores barely have anything in them. So it's like I'm like, I'd rather go somewhere else and, get something. It's like buying a phone. When I bought the other phone, I didn't buy it at their store. I went online to buy it because I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, same with, if I need parts or something, I'll probably just go somewhere else. And same with cables, because they don't have any cables there either. I'm like, I could literally go to Slackers or Vengeance Stock or something like that. Or some Radio Shacks. I mean, even though they're not around much anymore, there are some here and there, Got two of them, in central Missouri, I could go to. I'm like, why would I want to, go to a store that doesn't have any of that, like, why am I going to a store to buy something like that, I could go somewhere else. You know what I mean? But, I don't know if it's like that with other phone stores or not, but I guess maybe Cricket. I think I've been in a few Cricket stores. Had one of those in my mall in Jeff and all that, I went to. It's still there, but I don't really go in the phone stores a lot anymore. Also, there used to be a thing called, apparently, Best Buy Mobile as well. So you had the Best Buy stores and you had Best Buy Mobile. Apparently that was a thing, too, that didn't last very long, but that was another, I think, like a little pop-up store or something, because it was in the Columbia Mall I went to. But yeah, that one I forgot about, because that one's not there anymore, but my point is, there's a lot of other places you could go, even not phone stores, just in general, and don't have to worry about that, That's why I'm like, how are these places still in business, Yeah, you got the tech side of things, but like why are the stores and stuff still around? Like, I'm surprised they haven't closed down any of the stores, because I don't even see a lot of people even going into these stores anymore, at least some AT&T and all that. Hell, their hours, like GameStop, their freaking hours are like, basically, they open so late in the day and all that. Like, I was going down there around, like, I went down to one by, I wasn't walking to it, but I was going to the library and all that, and, to return a movie I got from them, and, because the library was relocated right now. Pretty nice people, but I was walking by, and it looked like it was even open yet. There was nobody there. It wasn't 11 yet, but it was dang near close, so that just tells you how crazy it is. And that was today. I went down there, so it wasn't on the weekend or anything like that, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm just like I said, there's really no reason to go in these stores, when I could just get it all online, or like better yet, just go to the store and buy it, that'd be even better. Even though the stores are kind of gone lackluster too, I don't like what the stores have become. At least, you're getting out more and all that. You're not being on your phone as much. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, like I said, this is all getting kind of like crazy and out of hand. But yeah, I don't know. But AT&T though, now technically they are Now, from what I have looked up, they are still doing all right, but they are definitely struggling. They are struggling, a little bit with. Apparently, they are in a bit of debt, but they're not apparently not struggling a bunch. Because I was like if they're getting rid of their own app, I'm like, are they like struggling to stay afloat? But they're in debt, but apparently Google says they're fine, but Google, of course, like I said, that's the only way I can look up stuff, yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I definitely think we're gonna see a lot more mergers too down the road as well with these apps because it's just like I said, a lot of this is collapsing and all that, and some of it, yeah, some things are like getting more expensive, like buying parts and stuff like that, but a lot of this shit has been happening for years, and I'm just saying, like seeing these stores kind of, well, these stores and like these websites, going under, a lot of it is because, like I said, they're not like they used to be, and they change, and that's why I've said too, trying to do things differently too is also good, because like YouTube, they're trying to push more into the Hollywood business and all that, and a lot of people are getting flagged and all that, and their channels are getting taken down and all that. The copyright system's pretty bad, and that's because they're trying to chase Hollywood. I'm like, try to be your own thing, instead of trying to be something else. And I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to do it a little bit when you're a website that makes videos or looks things up, but that's my point, like they were something different, and then now they're pushing more into this and pushing more into the AI. The AI and the IDs and stuff like that, which is ridiculous. But same thing with the stores. Like I said, the stores need to like have their own identity and all that to stay afloat, instead of trying to be all the same and sell some older stuff too. Like I said, the phone stores need to sell older things too, like memory cards and all that, and because that's the thing, I can't go to an AT&T store and buy a memory card anymore either, because they don't make them for the phones anymore. So I actually have to go to the actual store and buy them, But, I don't know, but yeah, this video is definitely very long, but like I said, I just have a big beef with the AT&T company, and then this, like I said, I'm kind of getting tired of all this crap. I feel like, and I don't even know if there's even a point. I mean, there's not even a point of buying a new phone as it is, but I don't even know if there's a point of even getting if there's even a point of even trying to switch a plan, like that's kind of the thing too. I'm like, I can switch my plan, but I'm like, all these companies are going to shit, so I'm like, do I want to switch it, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I may spend less money, I don't know, but I am going to go ahead, like I said, and let the video go, because I don't have a lot else to say, but yep, so Google Messages will be now the future of Android phones, so, anywho, I'm going to go ahead and let the video go, and, yeah, sorry about the video being super long, but I had a lot to kind of tackle here, but, anywho, bye-bye.